Welcome, in front of me is a Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro, and today I'll show you a couple of tweaks and tricks that I can do on this device. So starting off, we're going to begin with the dark mode, which you can access quickly through notification panel right over here. Just simply tap on it and your entire device goes into dark mode. And also, because the display on this device is an AMOLED, anything that is completely black, like the background right here, will be not actually lit up, so it will save the battery by just not having to waste the energy to light that background up. And also the dark mode extends through different apps, so for instance dialer, as you can see right here, messages, gallery, so all those will be included. When you download apps from Play Store, not all of them might work. They primarily need to be updated to actually work in dark mode by the developer of the app. So it's not nothing to do with your device not supporting them, it's more to do that the developer of the app didn't support the dark mode. So keep that in mind. And also, not even all the apps on the phone itself might be supported, so you might open certain apps that will not be supported, but it looks like quite a vast array of them is. So it looks like music is not supported, as you can see by the fact that it's completely light. Okay, so moving on, the next thing I'm going to show is just a split screen option. And to access it, all you need to do is tap on the recent right here. And you have this button of split screen right here. And you simply tap on it and it asks you to drag over a app that you want to split screen with. Now, if you don't really have an app right here that you want to split screen with, you will need to go home, and as an example I'm going to use a YouTube. It seems like a good app to do that with. So to split screen with YouTube, we need to first open it up, so let's tap on it. I'm not really sure why it's protected, but there we go. So now that it's open, although I'm not connected to network, it doesn't really matter at this point. You want to go to recent and again tap on it and simply hold it, drag it over, drop it, and now you can add a second app to split screen with. And the difference now is the fact that it tells you to tap on an app that you want to split screen, but you can just go home and choose any app from here that you want to split screen as such. And as you can see, there we go, so it's now split screening. Now normally you could be, if I would be connected to network, you can listen to music or whatever on here. You can even shrink it a little bit, and without actually stopping the music, you can do other things on your device. Even when you press home button, the music will not stop. Even though you don't see YouTube anymore right here, it's still open, and the music will be playing, and you can open up other apps. Now whatever app you will open, if it's supported, it will go back to split screen, as you can see right now. And to close this, all you need to do is drag the little bar right here that allows you to resize it, either completely up or down. Now whichever way you drag it doesn't really matter. It will just open up the one of the apps back into full screen. So let's just tap on home now and it closes it. Then moving on, we're gonna go into option called Game Turbo, which simply allows you to add a little bit more boost to your games. So to access it, we will need to go to your settings, and from here, let me turn off the dark mode right here. Okay. And from settings, we're gonna scroll down to, where is it? I believe it's special, there we go, special features, and you have Game Turbo. Let's agree to it. And in here, if you had any games installed, they will be all listed over here. If some games that you have installed are not showing in here, you can always tap on the add button and select them from just a list right here by simply checking out like so. And then when you launch them, they will be in Game Turbo. And this will also allow you to do things like start a performance mode, as you can see right here, add D&D, although this is not really a D&D, it does things like answers calls hands-free, which I assume just answers them in speakerphone mode, so you don't have to put your phone to your face while you're busy doing other stuff. So you can just talk loudly to your device and hear it without actually interrupting whatever you were doing. You have enhanced experience, which restricts specific functions of the device while you're playing any kind of game. And you can see when you sit up on it, you have a couple things. So don't open notification share, so you won't be able to pull down the notification panel when the game is open from here, and there you have added. Also restrict a screenshot gesture, so if there is a three-finger screenshot gesture, so it will be blocked off in games, so you don't actually take screenshot by mistake. Sometimes you might use 3 fingers on your display, and this will prevent the phone from thinking that you're trying to take a screenshot. Reading mode seems kind of useless, and just a simple toggle right here that you can turn on or off. And also turns off the auto brightness, which I would say it's very handy. So whichever one you want, you can simply check it on like so and have it enabled. Now this will only be working if you're opening a game. Other than that, if you leave this, you can see that you can normally pull the notification, capture screenshots. It doesn't really block you off. It's only disabling these functions while you're doing gaming, for instance. Going back in here, there are additional settings we can see. So it looks like it also has some controls that you can use for the specific games. And now here it's camera because I chose that apparently this is a game that it didn't recognize. I don't have any other, so that's just kind of an example. But you have things like a touch control, so you have touch separate response and sensitivity, which you can slide around to get a better responsibility on basically when you're sliding your finger on a display in games. So it might help you a bit in how it performs. And then also you have a touch resistant area. So this is solely designed that when you're, I'm gonna take the phone, when you're holding it like so, sometimes you basically press your the bottom of your thumb, like the palm, I guess, to the display, and this will allow you to reject that touch so it doesn't interrupt whatever you are trying to actually tap, but your hand was actually touching the display. So you can choose it to be larger, so it basically will cut off part of the display from being recognized as a touch. So you could be touching right here and it would not do anything because it would be literally rejecting that. Then we have enhanced visual, increased contrast, and enhanced details for games. So you can slide it around, you can see how it changes. Some of those might be a little bit too extreme, I would say. If you like it, you can just keep it. It seems a little bit too saturated and too bright, in my opinion. Maybe on stronger, moderate is the best option. But you can set it to whatever you want, and it looks like every app has will have its own customization that you can go and tweak around. So that would be the game boost. And next thing that I wanted to show would be the gesture navigation. And as you can see right now, we have the normal, I would say outdated buttons on the bottom, but you can change them to something a little bit more modern, like the gesture navigation, where it removes those buttons and shows you basically no buttons, but you can use them like swiping from sides to go back, swipe up to go home, swipe and hold to go into recent. And to enable it, we're gonna go again into the settings and in additional settings, and then full screen display, where you will find the switch. So here you have the buttons, but you can change it to full screen gestures, and you can learn it. If you already know how they work, you can just say not now and disregard it. But here you go. So let's learn. So swipe from the bottom quickly, so that's the home. Then swipe and hold to go to recent, as you can see. And swipe from either side to go back. As you can see, when you swipe from the side, it also appears with that little arrow to indicate that you are about to go back. And let's tap on I'm done, and that's about it. Now it's enabled. As you can see, there's no more button on the bottom, and now I can swipe from the bottom and use the gestures. Now if you're struggling with going into recent or going home from based on the swipe up. A little tip to get this functioning almost all the time is when you're holding the device, try to swipe from outside of the actual display. So as you can see, the display starts like right here. I'm gonna swipe from below the display instead of like the display itself, because then you might be pulling up the up tray instead of actually going home, as you can see. So if you're having that problem, just swipe from lower side of the screen. You don't actually have to begin on the screen. You might be beginning even on the completely opposite side of it, as long as you have the motion of swiping it from when it registers it at the very bottom going up. And the last thing that I want to show is just a simple option for second space, and this will allow you to add additional space to your device, and that is completely independent from this one. So whatever settings you have right here, apps, pictures, anything like that, documents you might have, will be completely separated from the second space. It will be virtually like a different device. And to get that enabled, we're going to go into the special features, and it's right here. So turn on second space. Give it a moment. Created successfully, so let's continue. Switch between spaces using password or using a shortcut. So you have different ways of switching between those spaces because you have access to both of them on a single device. So you have to have a way of getting to it. Now, in my opinion, probably using a password is the best one. Shortcut will just create an application shortcut on your home screen on your main device and on the second display as well. But password seems to be the best option in my opinion. If you already have one set, then you're kind of set with the first space, but if you don't have a first space password, you will need to set it. Now I believe I do have it, so let's set now and confirm first space password. So you need to read it to actually figure out what it's asking, for which space it's asking right now. So this is the first one, which is the original. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's tap on next. Set pin for second space, so I'm gonna select 4, 3, 2, 1 as an example, and confirm your second space password. 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Okay, and set fingerprint. So you could add a fingerprint, and also you can have again two different fingerprints. So for instance, for main space you could have your right thumb, and for the second space you could have your left, just as an example. But I'm gonna opt out of this for now. Let's skip this. Code is enough. And as you can see now, the wallpaper here is completely different. So if I would go into things like a gallery, it will be fully empty. As you can see, there's nothing in here. But if I lock the device, tap on it again and unlock it, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is the main space. It goes back to settings where I was, and you can see that the wallpaper is here different. If I go into photos, you can see that there are actually photos in here, in albums, and I can seamlessly switch between those spaces based on the code that I put into the device. As you can see here, I'm back in the album where there was no photos. So just a nice way for you to have two different spaces, and you could divide your device to kind of like a work and personal device without actually having your work, for instance, icons, whatever it is, documents being visible when you don't need it. But this would conclude all the tweaks and tricks that I wanted to share. And if you found this very helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.